So it's been 2 months and we finally have a pack worth talking about. The new set Mega Rising launches tomorrow, but as is tradition, everything's leaked thanks to data miners. I'm not going to go through everything because there's too many cards and a lot of them are crap, as is usual. Hey, I'm Skeleton Eddie. I make videos about the competitive scene in Pokemon TCG Pocket. If you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like, maybe give the channel a cheeky sub because it all helps. And let's get into it. So the best way to review any set is to probably start with the supporters and the items because they can have a big effect on what is actually good. So we're going to start with Marlon, who is, we saw him in the trailer, so he is heals 70 damage from your Caracosta or Jellicent. Again, we'll look at them later to see if he's worth using. Then we've got Hala. So during your opponent's next turn, if your Hariyama or Crabominal would be knocked out by damage from attack, it is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. Again, we're going to check out the Pokemon themselves to see if there's any good. May is kind of a big deal. So put 2 random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. For each Pokemon you put into your hand this way, choose a Pokemon to shuffle from your hand into your deck. So basically, ideally, if you have 2 in hand, you draw 2 more, you now have 4 cards, and then you can just bin the 2 you don't want. This is going to be at least a one of in every Stage 2 deck, maybe even a lot of other decks, just because of how good it is for... It just makes it a lot easier to get the cards that you want. So if you draw the basic, but you need the Stage 2, you can try and bin off the basics to fish for the Stage 2s. It's going to make Stage 2 decks a lot more... any evolution deck a lot more reliable. Fantina. So take a psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to each of your Drifblim or Mismagius. So again, depends on how good the cards are. Copycat. So shuffle your hand into your deck, draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. So I guess if you burn through your deck and this is your last card, you play this and then you draw up however many is in your opponent's card. It's not bad. However, 20 card decks, support a competition is huge anyway. So I don't know if this is going to see play. Like, why have this when you can have something better? Licia. Definitely another card to watch. We have put 2 random basic Pokemon with 50 HP or less from your deck into your hand. Why is this good? Because babies exist. So if you need particular babies, they're 30 HP. We are seeing a lot more. Well, I mean, this is going to come up later, but there are basic Pokemon which have 50 HP that you do want to be able to draw into. So it's a bit more limited use than May, but I think this is still absolutely going to be seen. Items now, so Flame Patch. Attach a fire energy from your discard pile to your active fire Pokemon. This is absolutely busted for fire Pokemon because a lot of them have big attacks which discard energy and then they put you like a turn away from... you would need something, normally you would need to bring fire energy from the bench, like with a elemental switch. Now, because you've already binned off energy, that's now they're just waiting for you to use the flame pack to bring it on. So for example, Infernape can swing back to back with Flame Patch, new Blaziken as well. Like this counteracts the problem with discarding energy for fire Pokemon. Citrus Berry, so at the end of the turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to has half of its maximum HP or less remaining, heal 30 damage from it if you do discard this card. It's fine. But we're used to having I know there are better tools, so I think the competition with tools is going to push us out of being used, really. So something we haven't seen from the trailer, which is Heavy Helmet. So if the Pokemon this card is attached to has a retreat cost of 3 or more, it takes minus 20 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So any big boys you've got can then take less damage, which is good. So off the top of my head, Snorlax EX. Because it's in the active slot, it heals 20 and then you're taking 20 less damage. That's kind of cool. Lucky Mittens. Whenever your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack used by the Pokemon, this card's attached to draw a card. So it's okay. Again, you have to draw it, put it on. So if there's like any kind of tool heavy decks or things which rely on tools to do bonus link, like the old Skarmory, you could see this, but I'm not quite sure. Prank Spinner. So a card from among both players' hands is chosen at random, revealed to the player, and shuffled into its owner's deck. A pointless item, really. So Plume Fossil, we've got Plume Fossil, and then also we have Cover Fossil. They are fossils, we know what fossils do. Hitting Hammer, flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So because it's an item, you can play Will and guarantee the first thing is. It's just another, it's like, if you want to double down on, if you've got like Team Rocket Grunt and you want to really double down on stripping energy, you can use this, but it's kind of like, why? Yeah, it's not that great. So we're going to start with Blaziken because as well as supporters defining the meta, this will also define the meta. So Mega Blaziken is going to be probably the day 1 threat because it is bulky with 210 HP, 2 energy attack is a low energy investment. So you discard an energy, doesn't matter if Flame Patch, and even then you're only discarding 1, so it's stopping you building up other stuff, but it's not a big deal. Does 120, but you also burn, so you're doing 140. So what does that mean? It means you 2-shot any Mega in the game. You 2-shot anything in the game, basically. And also, because it's 140, a Giovanni or a Red is probably going to let you 1-shot most other things in the game. So all those like EXs at 140, or even if they cape to 160, a Red will sort you out and 1-shot those. And at the same time, you're stage 2, so you can play Lilies to get 60 health. This is a very strong, and I mean, the flagship cards usually are. But this one definitely stands out. Now, the problem is now, every card we look at now has to be looked through of the lens of, hey, Blaziken's going to come out and hit you for 140. And while we're on the subject of Blaziken, it's like, okay, it's a Mega, it's an EX. I'll just bring my Oricorio and it can't do anything. Well, conveniently, there is a baby Blaziken that is 140 health, and for 2 energy does 100 damage. So that'll take care of Oricorios. Haven't even got to worry about it. But anyway, let's get into the rest of the cards, starting with Grass. Mega Pinsir, so 170 health. Mega Pinsir is going to really rely on something else, because by itself it takes too long to build up. Yes, obviously Will is going to be important, because then that guarantees the 150. I mean, if there's 2 energy, this might be butt broken, but as it is, it's not so great. And it's 2 retreat costs, so if you start with it, you can't then bring it back out of the active slot. I mean, I've seen some people throwing ideas of like, oh, well, you can run it with Leafeon EX. Also, a baby, because it's got the 1 neutral energy, so you just baby on 1 energy, and then you only need 2 grass. It's hard to say. It's definitely not one of the standout Megas. Okay, Beautifly. So Skill Dive. 1 energy does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Absolutely fine, but it's a stage 2, so who cares? I don't think it's going to see play. Dustox, so select Powder 60, so choose either Poisoned or Confused. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by that special condition. It's fine. Like, it's an attack, it has to be in the active slot to do it. Confused isn't really a good condition, kind of. Poison is okay. Doesn't really, it's not great. Whimsicott EX, so 140, again, gotta watch out for them Blazikens. Although, like a Grass Cape would push it to 170, so it'd be okay. Unless there's a red. So 2 energy Grass Knot does 40, and then does 30 more damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So what this usually means is, like 1 retreat cost is, so that's 70 damage, 2 retreat cost is gonna be 100. It's okay. I think the problem is you might end up in trouble just because of the variable damage it can do. Lilligant. So you're playing this one pretty much for the ability. I've been wrong before about stage 1s with abilities. You either get something really good, like I forget what the name of it was, but the mushroom thing that went with Solgaleo to like draw cards. That was really good, but things like Claydol for healing weren't. This one is just each of your grass Pokemon gets plus 20 HP. Again, you can run 2 of them, so you could get up to up to plus 40, but then you're spending 4 card slots to get this. So I don't know if it's really worth it. Like, is this better than just having healing cards or like grass capes? I don't know. Okay, into fire now. So obviously we've been looking at Blaziken and that. As well as that, we've got a Rapidash EX. So Sprinting Flare, 110 for 3 energy. So 3 energy is a bit awkward to get. I mean, you probably need the Magby to get the energy on there. And this attack also 20 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. The issue here is you're kind of overshadowed by Blaziken. Yeah, it's an EX, so it's 2 points rather than 3. But it might, I don't know, I think Blaziken's probably a little bit better. 2 retreat cost isn't great, but it's not too much of a problem. You don't discard energy is good. 110 and then hitting the bench is okay. It's not terrible. And again, doing 110 is actually a good number because I think the highest the Megas go up to is 210 right now. So you 2-shot a Mega. So next, surprisingly, we've got a Chandelure, which I've been wanting for a while, but it is not Psychic, it is Fire. So the main thing this way, so stage 2, Heat Blast, 2 for 80 is absolutely fine. But the main thing is its ability, which is once per turn you may discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So really, you're probably playing this for the ability. It just sits on the bench and just every turn you just mill your opponent's deck. Maybe have 2 and you're milling 2 at a time. So that's something you can do. And also it could maybe attack. So it seems absolutely fine. What you pair this with, I do not know. I mean, you don't, it's a bit of a waste, but you don't even need to play it in a fire deck. You could just play it and just have it sat doing the ability. Heatmore. Heatmore is interesting because it's 80 health, a basic, and it is Tongue Whip, so this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's a sniper for fire, and I don't think Fire's had snipers but until now. So this is something, because I guess one issue you could have in the Blaziken mirror match is committing your Mega to the field, because whichever one sort of starts taking damage first, the pressure's on for them to heal through it, otherwise they just get 2-shot. But if you have Heatmore and Heatmore can ping and then Cyrus them in the next turn, that's something that could happen. So it's an interesting tech piece for fire decks. So we have Pyroar, which is their 1-pointer, stage 1, 130, has Fire Blast for 3 energy. Again, you need a baby, probably a Magby to get the 3 energy. It does discard 2, which normally would be a problem, but then you can always Flame Patch it on. It seems absolutely fine. Okay, what are the interesting cards in Water? We're going to start off with Magikarp. So 30 HP. Again, snipers are going to be ready for that. 3 energy Waterfall Evolution, so put a random card from your deck that evolves from this Pokemon onto this Pokemon to evolve it. So what that does mean is it opens up the door for turn 1 Misties and then evolving into Gyarados. Or if you go second, you'll need to Misty Dawn 2 energy. So this can be good because it just means you can I mean, it is a random card from your deck that evolves, so it would be a random if you have more than just like if you have multiple Gyaradoses, because you can play like the non-EX one, the non-EX, the EX, and the Mega. But it's just a different way. I mean, I don't know if I like this better than the flip out one. I don't know. We have another basic Gyarados, which is just like a baby version of the Mega. So 140 health, and then 4 energy, Hammering Tail for 100. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Like, yes, it can take care of Oricorio, but it's 4 energy. Like, I just don't know. Mega Gyarados, one of the flagships, and it looks pretty. So 210 bulk is good because you've got it's a stage 1, but you've got Irida. And then you've got Misty for charging up, even though it's 4 energy. You've got Manaphy, you've got Mantike, you know. Water is pretty good for like having energy. And you discard the top 3 cards you put. Doing 140 is decent because that'll 2-shot most Megas. And again, like Blaziken with a red, that'll take care of most other EXs. Discard top 3 cards of your opponent's deck is also pretty good as well. Ludicolo. So 140 health, 2 and stage 2, but 2 energy, rhythmic step, so 60 plus if you have exactly 1, 3 or 5 cards in your hand. This attack does 60 more damage, so that's 2 for 120, which is not terrible for a 1-pointer. But it's that awkward thing is you're just going to get scammed on those turns where you can't control the cards you have in your hand. Wailord. So, I was looking at Wailord. And like, until I'd saw some other discussion about it, I'd sort of it looked a bit, because you look at it, it's like 4 retreat cost, 4 energy to attack, 60 plus, and then 10 for each water energy, so it means it does 100 damage. Doesn't look great. However, it's a 1-pointer with 200 hit points. So outside of GA, the Apex Charizard, nothing one-shots it. So what that does mean is you can have something just sat in the active slot for a while that it can be healed with Irida. You know, you've got, potentially you can build up the energy where you're doing 100 damage a turn, 120 damage a turn. And if your opponent gets rid of this, I mean, I've also, someone on Discord mentioned that there was Lyra will work for this, so if it's going to take damage, you can just Lyra it out if you wanted to. And it's just 1-pointer. So I don't know if it's super good, but it's definitely something that's worth exploring just because of the hit points. Okay, Caracosta. So we know there is a trainer, supporter who can heal 70, so it's got 150 health. So that healing 70 of that is okay. And it has 3 for 100 is fine. It's not great. But the condition is prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So if we were in a sort of Dark Tina meta, this would be pretty good. As it is, it's just interesting, I think. Jellicent. So again, 120 health, it can be healed for 70 from the trainer. Bouncy body, so if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So it can just set up as a potential wall, just to pass, you know, even if it only takes 1 hit, that's another free energy to the back, and that could be a Gyarados. Seems pretty good. I guess the issue is that it's something, it's in the active slot, so it's stopping babies or like a Manaphy generating energy, so is it worth it? Because if it only gets hit once, it's only 1 energy, so I don't know. Greninja EX. So this is an interesting one because it's 170 health, so an EX that cannot get one-shot by Blaziken. 2 for 100 is quite nice, because again, water has ways to get energy and move it around. You have shifting stream, so once during a turn you may switch your active water Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So this is basically Water Solgaleo. You have 2 retreat costs, it doesn't matter because of your ability. The ability works on any, as long as the active Pokemon is water. It's like Solgaleo is just for Solgaleo. There's 20 less damage than Solgaleo, but seems okay. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what you run this with. But doing 100 for, and also with at selects, you can 2-shot a Blaziken with this. I guess it needs heat. I mean, you do 120 and then 120 again, so if you have ways to increase damage, because obviously also you could run this Greninja and then run the basic ones for chip damage as well. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Okay, what's interesting in electric? Well, for starters, we have Jolteon EX, 140 health, which is nice because they usually make the electric ones a little bit weaker. Mach Bolt, so 2 energy for 80 is okay, but then obviously we've got Zeraora, you've got Elemental Switch. There are ways to move electric energy around, so it's not terrible. And then the ability, which is Electromagnetic Wall, so as long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, whenever your opponent attaches energy from the energy zone to one of their Pokemon, do 20 damage to that Pokemon. So it's anything. So if they build something up on the bench, it takes 20. The main thing would be something like Giratina. So it's like you get the energy from energy zones, so that would chip 20 off that. So I should have talked about the EV first. There is a way to get this out in your first turn, so straight away your opponent's going to be chipping themselves. And really, like, if you're building something up on the bench, you really don't want to be chipping damage to then make yourself Cyrusable. And also just chipping damage, it makes suddenly that Mach Bolt that was doing 80, if they've chipped themselves a couple of times, suddenly you've done, that's 120. Yeah, Jolteon, definitely one to watch. Mega Ampharos, so Stage 2, 210 HP. Lightning Lancer, so 3 energy, 100, and it does your opponent's bench Pokemon chosen 3 times and does 20 damage. So it's 60 damage, potentially 60 damage of like random snipes. So with the bench damage, it's good because that's potentially you can delete something and then maybe you'll get like a Cyrus opportunity if they just, like if you take out like a 1-pointer, maybe you chip the 2-pointer on the bench, you can bring that in. But yeah, it seems okay, and I think 3 energy isn't a problem for electric. 210 HP is quite bulky. I think this is decent. Surprisingly, we got another Luxray. So I think I remember Luxray is, because this is the baby Luxray, it works with Volcaner, so you can just pull energy from the discard pile onto this. It does Flash Impact, which is 110. This attack also does 20 damage to one of your bench Pokemon, so you're self-damaging a little bit, which isn't great, but 110 for 2 energy is really, really good, because that'll 2-shot most things in the game. And yeah, so you can just, it's got 0 retreat cost, which is good. You can just play this from your hand and just Vulcan energy onto it. And obviously Elemental Switch, other stuff, so this can actually be really good, I think. On to Psychic. So Psychic got a lot of cards. And there's some kind of interesting stuff. So we've got a new Mismagius for 90 health, 2 for Spooky Shot 70. It is basically the same damage as the old EX. 2 for 7, it's absolutely fine. It's a bit mid. Okay, the advantage is you have a supporter which will then let you park energy on it. But I don't know if it's really good enough for you to have this and supporter in your deck, unfortunately. We have a new Sableye, so 80 health basic, a Dirty Throw, so 2 energy, 70 damage, not terrible. Discard a card from your hand. If you can't, this attack does nothing. So you're basically paying for it being like 70 damage basic. Not terrible. I mean, the main thing is 70 damage. This is an Oricorio counter. So Mega Altari is a Psychic. You could play this as a one-off, so it can come out and like deck a Oricorio. Speak of the Devil, Mega Altaria. So the main thing is its basic Swablu is a 50 health. So you're probably going to see Mega Altaria and Lycia, just to pull the 50s in your deck. The other thing is we now have a, actually I might as well pull it up now because it's going to affect other stuff. So we have a new Eevee. So Babe, wake up. An even better Eevee's been released. So boosted evolution is 50 health, so it can be a Lyciad. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it. What does that mean? Turn 1 Sylveon, turn 1 Jolteon, turn 1 Leafeon, turn 1 whatever you want, or just when you play it from your hand. So you don't have that turn of just like, oh, I've drawn into the Eevee and play that. And because you can Lycia it, it's very easy. It's easier to get that into your hand to begin with. So I can definitely see Sylveon EX plus Mega Altaria with Lycia to draw the basics being good, because also the Sylveon, it runs Psychic Energy, so you can use that as another attacker. So Mega Harmony is 2 energy for 40 plus, and then 30. You do 30 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon. So that basically means, so it's 40, 70, 100, 130. You do need the full bench to do like real damage. I think Mega Altaria is the one I want to play because it's maybe got, like Blaziken is pretty straightforward, Gyarados is fairly straightforward. Mega Altaria, like what you run with it is quite interesting. Because as we're going to see, there are some interesting like just one point basics that you can just mix in. So let's go to, we got a new Dustoir. So 2 energy, hammer in for 80, not terrible. The Fade into Darkness, when this Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent can't get any points for it. A bit of a meme, really, I think. Jirachi, so 50 health. Again, you're playing it in a deck with Lycia. You can pull that straight in. 1 energy star drop. You do 30 damage to one of your opponent's active Pokemon. If Gyarados is a big thing, you're sniping the Magikarps. You're sniping babies. This is quite a nice tech thing for Psychics. And it's not just the bench, it's anything. Drift Blim. So again, you can park energy onto this from the supporter. 100 balloon barrel, so 20 plus. You do 20 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So when you attack, you actually do 60. And then the more energy you get on this, so if you have 5 energy on it, it's doing 120. It's not terrible. I mean, if you have like if you're leading with something with low energy investment and this is just building up on the back, and it's like, ta-da, it comes out and just does like 120 or something stupid. Doesn't seem terrible. And then if you're playing this with the support of just parking more energy on it, like it's okay, but I don't know if it's good enough to make the cut. Now, we have a Psychic Baby. So 30 health, jingly noise, so for no energy, it does 10 damage. Again, that's a bonus because its ability is, during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. This is ridiculous. Now the main thing to remember is, there's no energy cost associated with this, you can play this in any deck. But not being able to play items. You know, we're about to enter like the phase where there's Megas, like Blaziken. What do they want? They want rare candies. What are rare candies? Items. No rare candies, no Pokeballs, no potions, none of that stuff. Your flame patches. So obviously this isn't going to last very long in the active slot. But running like 2 of these in the deck, it's really good. I mean, this is probably what's going to be run to counter Blaziken, because if you can stall out that rare candy for as long as possible, it's going to help a lot. Also, as it's like just a 1 point basic, I can see this being run in the Mega Altaria decks, just as something you can throw in on the bench to boost the damage. Koffa Grigus? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this one. But 2 energy soul shot, 120 damage, which is quite a lot for a stage 1 basic. It's non-EX. Not basic, yeah, non-EX. But discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't discard 2 cards, the attack does nothing. So you're taking the punishment in the form of cards. 120 for 2 energy is really good though, from like a 1-pointer. So yeah, feels a bit memey, but still that's respectable damage. We have Gothitelle, so 130, Stellar Cradle, so 70 for 2 is fine. That's the same as like a Sylveon EX. During your opponent's next turn, if they attach energy from their energy zone to the defending Pokemon, that Pokemon will be asleep. It's okay, it just seems really conditional, like, okay, what if they retreat it? I don't think this is good. Now, Klefki. So it's 50 health. I think also, yeah, again, if you're doing a Mega Altaria deck with Lycia, Klefki, Chingaling, Eevee, all like 50 health or below, so they can get pulled out with that. And Klefki is Psychic, even though it's got neutral energy, so you can run in anything. Hook 20, that's fine, we don't care about the attack, because once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. If you do discard that Pokemon, or discard this Pokemon. Basically, it's a Guzma. It's a Guzma that sits on your bench, and you just discard this to trigger it. But yeah, Klefki, really decent looking card. So lastly from the Psychics, we have Indeedee EX, and this is another one. I mean, this is going to work with a lot of Psychic decks. So 130, 2 energy Psychic, so 30 plus, and then 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So a decent little, like, early to late game piece, because if they've got 1 energy, that's 60 damage, that'll clear some basics, and then later in the game, when maybe they've got like 3 or 4 energy, you're doing a lot more. But also its ability is once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon. So this thing can just sit on your bench, heal, and then maybe later on in the game it jumps out. So this is going to be able to heal your Altaria. If you're running it with Espeon, you're going to be able to heal the Espeon, and the Espeon heals. So the Espeon's healing for 50, which is ridiculous. Also, like again, it's another basic for Altaria, just to like park out on the bench to increase its damage. Seems really decent. Okay, on to fighting. I'm a little bit disappointed. I think a lot of the fighting stuff that's come out in this set is not that great. But let's start off with Hitmonchan EX. So it's a basic, it has 130 health. Has a quick straight, so 50 for 1 energy. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness. So what that means is if it hits a normal, if it hits something weak to fighting, it doesn't do 70, it just does 50. So it does seem a bit mid. However, just doing 50 for 1 energy is pretty good because you can then Giovanni to take out 60s. With red it does 70. I guess the other thing is Lucario exists, so then that can amp the damage up to 70. So just having this just straight away with 1 energy to start biffing for 50 is actually quite decent. I think one thing we might have to wait for is a decent Mega. So this guy goes out and just starts punching, and then the Mega just build up in the back. So a lot of the fighting cards I don't think are good, but I'm just going to look at these just because they're either memey or interesting. So we have Golurk, 130 HP, Heavy Rocket, 60 times. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. This attack does 60 damage for each Pokemon with a repeat cost of 3 or more. You find there, shuffle the revealed cards back in deck. So it would be nicer if it was like a base 60 and then it does other stuff. But really, unless you're just filling your deck full of big boys, this is very much a meme. Crabominable, I'm only looking at it because of the supporter. The last chance punch, 30 plus. If this Pokemon's remaining HP is 30 or less, which will be if it would get knocked out, and then the supporter lets it live. This attack does 60 more damage, so it would do 90. So fair enough, you could back to back the supporter, so it gets hit. You're alive on 10. You do 90. You play the supporter again, you hit 90 again. It's just not, I don't think it's good enough. Same for Hariyama, so 130. Where do you think fighting gets this energy from? Okay, so we're going to move on to Dark now. Starting off with probably one of the most powerful cards I saw, for at least one point as I saw from the trailer. Still seems pretty decent in context of everything else we've seen. Hydreigon, so 150 HP. Nice, doesn't get one shot by a Blaziken without a Giovanni. 3 energy Hyper Ray, 130, so decent damage. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. Would be crap, except for once during a turn you may take 2 dark energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. If you do 30 damage to this Pokemon. It is a Dark Rampardos that is not a fossil, so it's easier to get into. We have things like May now, which means drawing the evolutions are better. This is really good, and it's a 1-pointer. You can 2-shot. You can pretty much keep using the ability back to back. The main thing is the damage comes on first, so you can do the damage and then heal it in the same way as Flareon's combustibility. And for 1 point, this is really good. I think this is in the same way. Same way Rampardos was like terrifying. Hydreigon is going to do the same thing. Dragalge EX, so 150 EX stage 1. 2 for 80 is fine for stage 1. And then Poison Point, so if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from opponent's Pokemon, the attacking Pokemon is now poisoned. So it's basically got a built-in Poison Barb, so are we going to try and make Dark Poison decks work again? Probably. Are they going to be good? Maybe. But also you can stack this now, so you can have the Poison Point and then have a Rocky Helmet as well. The first thing you think of is like Nihilego as well. Worth looking at. So Mega Absol. So we saw this in the trailer, so 2 for 80 is pretty good on the basic. It can get a bit awkward if you go first. And the attack is your opponent reveals their hand, choose a supporter card you find there and discard it. 170 seems decent. Alright, we got Honchkrow, which is 2 energy for Evil Admonition. So 40 damage. This attack does 40 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. If they have an entire board full of ability Pokemon, that is 160. Yeah, that's 160 more damage. So that means it just does 200 damage. Obscene. So what does this mean? A, it's a neutral energy, so that means it can be run in any deck. The other thing is, just by itself with 2 energy, you 1-shot on Oricorio, so it gives dark energy like a Oricorio counter. And also like Darkrai Giratina, that's an extra 80 damage straight away there. So potentially with a red, you can just start running down like a Darkrai Giratina deck. and it's only a 1-pointer, which is quite nice. Again, it's going to have to, I mean, abilities are everywhere. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like top tier meta, but Honchkrow is definitely worth looking at in dark decks, or just kind of anything really. We have a basic Absol, so 80 health, and then 2 energy for Ominous Claw, so 50 damage. And then it's basically on a coin flip, you discard a supporter. It's like a mini mega one, basically. Fine. Okay, we are on to Steel. So Aegislash, 140 stage 2. So 3 energy for 70 is bad. The 2 retreat cost is bad. But maybe it's Saving Grace's ability, which is Curse Metal, so attacks used by your Psychic and Metal Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So for example, I mean, you're probably not going to do this, but you could run this like in a Mega Altaria deck. You could run this in, yeah, any... This is the thing, is it worth having a stage 2 in your deck just so it can sit on your bench and amplify damage? I mean, yes, that's kind of what Greninja does, so maybe it's not so bad. Melmetal. So the thing with Melmetal you have to remember is I think it was Genetic Apex, or something after that. Its basic can ramp itself. So either a baby, or you're just using the basic to ramp itself into the headbutt for 80, which is okay. And then Metal Arms, which is 100, and then if this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this attack does 50 more damage, so 150. Not bad. Because yeah, you're probably running a bunch of tools. You could maybe run this with Skarmory as well. With the I mean, you can use Memory Light tool to then be able to self-ramp itself using the ability from the previous evolution. Okay, I don't hate this. There is then Gujo, which is 150, and then 3 energy for 100, and you heal 40 from this Pokemon. It's not good. We have Durant, so basic with 80 is nice. 2 energy is not great, and it does 40 damage, but if Durant is on your bench, the attack does 40 more damage, so... I mean, you can only ever have 2 Durant, so... Right, we are on to the normals. So, Delcatty 80, stage 1. Ability is Search for Friends, so once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. So you're basically playing this for the ability. The thing is, it's like, if you're probably playing 2 of these, you're playing 4 cards in your deck to potentially play a supporter 2 more times. It seems really good, because it's like, oh, I'll just play Professor's Research again, or something else. I don't know if this is good enough to justify the 4 deck slots. We have Baby Altaria. So 100 health. This is interesting because it's 2 energy and does 20 plus 20 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon, so 80 if you have a full bench. What that means is with a full bench is you can delete Oricorios. So again, like Blaziken, you sort of have a counter. Lastly, we have Tauros EX, so 140, and then 2 energy for Wild Tackle, 90. Flip a coin if Tails, this Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. Yeah, this is just like it feels like it could have been a promo EX because it's that bad. Right, that's some of the most interesting and potentially meta-defining cards from the new set. But what do you think? What looks good for you? I mean, for myself, I want to try out like Altaria and definitely Hydreigon. And yeah, my name's Skeleton Andy. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, maybe a cheeky sub, and I will see you later, yeah?